if the Raptors decide to get through the deadline by only making a deal or two, let's say that includes Gary Trent, but that means Van Vliet, Anunoby, Siakam, Barnes are still here, and yet they don't get out of the basement. They remain a team that's on the outside of the play-in, looking in. How far or how crazy do you think Messiah Bobby Webster could get in the summer? In other words, like, would a Siakam trade ever be in the fold for them? Can you picture that being a scenario where they decide they need significant turnover and basically everyone outside of Scotty Barnes could be on the table for that?
Yeah, you guys were kind of hinting at that earlier, and I was going to say it then, so it's great you asked it now. I do think, and I've heard it repeatedly, that the offseason is far more likely to feature theatrics from the Raptors, but also across the league, just being that everyone's so bunched up right now. And, I mean, as bad as things have been for Toronto this season, currently in 12th, they're still, I'm looking right now, they're still only 5 games out of the 6th seed with, well over 30 games to play. So any team can look at that and think this is a bunch of ground we can make up, and then you wake up on April 30th and you're completely out of the play-in tournament altogether and decide, all right, the offseason's here. There's far more flexibility. Teams can carry more roster spots. You can carry up to 20 players in the offseason that allows far more flexibility in taking back contracts and whatnot to make the salaries work. I mean, if Toronto does what they did basically with Kyle Lowry, like you said, and wait now but decide to move in the offseason, it's a far greater likelihood of all those guys being talked about and moved, and et cetera. I think with Pascal, one thing that's super important is that I've been told pretty adamantly he wants to be there. He wants to be in Toronto, and that he is open to being a piece next to Scotty Barnes, and that there doesn't necessarily have to be this timeline decision between those two players. So I don't think that's likely. I think it's possible, just being that there is going to be such a wealth of interest in him. But he's always been a favorite of the front office. He enjoys living in Toronto as an international player. It seems like just historically international players have enjoyed being in Toronto more so than American players. And that's a thing that is certainly a talking point around the league. And I'd be surprised that they'd be so willing to part with him if he's so interested in sticking around.